It's Trauma Man. Or Chainsaw Man.
ES Collectioneers.
So this is the Builder brand Chainsaw Man Quick Brick using Denji and Pochita set, which is also sponsored by Crunchyroll, I guess. And here you've got Denji and Pochita as they appeared in the very beginning of Chainsaw Man. I've only seen the first few episodes of it, and I know that he does not look like this for very long, and Pochita does not stick around for very long, and I'm not going to say much more than that. So I also got the titular Chainsaw Man. Kinda had to when I saw these two. Eventually I'll probably pick up Power just to have all three of them. But here they are together. Denji and his superhero suit. So, I've seen these around stores off and on over the last several months, and I have noticed that there are more and more building block brands popping up besides just Lego. It seems like different companies are trying their hands at the licensed building block game, which is great because pretty much anything that isn't Lego makes a ton of much more interesting custom pieces. And you'll get things like Pochita here that are, it's a really simple shape, but some of the pieces that they had to make for this were, pretty unique. Like the chainsaw piece itself, Lego doesn't make anything that could be construed as, a violent weapon per se. And that's kind of everything that Chainsaw Man is a living violent weapon. And even from the few short episodes I saw, it gets pretty dark pretty fast, and it gets pretty violent immediately. For Pete's sake, Denji himself, when we first see him, he's missing his eye because if I remember correctly, he basically sold it to try and pay off some loan sharks that were... They basically owned him up until certain events happened, But to not get off on the tangent of the show itself and just focus on the figures, I'm actually amazed. I'm incredibly impressed with just how amazing the articulation is on these guys. Because of the way certain parts of the body are built, there's a bit of limitation that I'm not a huge fan of. But, just with what you have here, Denji can do, the perfect splits. He's got a full range of motion for his feet that would be pretty good on any typical action figure. He's got a waist swivel, so he can actually turn at the hip. He's got a built-in bicep swivel, which is amazing. He's got double jointed elbows, so he can do a full bend. The custom hand pieces are actually the main reason that I picked up these sets, because they have a really well done human-like hand piece, and I just hadn't really seen any other building block brand do that to the level that these ones had, while still keeping that standard axle hole through it, so you could give them a bionicle weapon or whatever. And I really like that. Building Denji, of course, was like getting a Lego set that was made by a designer that was given quadruple the budget and crack cocaine. The type of unique pieces that they used specifically to get the shapes and the part connections that they needed to do everything they wanted with this. Oh my god, I was geeking out the entire time. Scarlet probably was giving me the side eye, but the base of the shin portion, or the lower leg portion here, is like an entirely custom piece with just some standard parts built up around it, like from the ball all the way up to the knee joint, from the ankle all the way up to the knee. That's one solid piece just with some extra bits around it, and it's about the length and size of a standard Bionicle part from years ago. But it's amazing the way they did it, and then the way that they did the sockets for the socket joints is really interesting too, because it's got like a Technic ball sized socket, and then it's got like a system sized ball connection, and then they gave you these little like system sized socket connectors to clip onto it. But those had axles that go into the quick brick that they show on the front of the box. And the quick brick is like the base of that. And it's one of those things where if you've been a long time LEGO fan like I am, you're very well familiar with the various types of builds that LEGO does for what you could classify as a buildable action figure, essentially. You know, there's certain setups that LEGO does that you see very commonly, and then there's this builder brand figure that's just like, you know what? Let's make custom pieces to serve these specific build ideas we want to do. They made the waist joint with a ball and socket connection that's brick built around it, but the socket is a completely custom part that has the hip joints on it. You know, the torso is entirely brick built, and it uses 2 quick bricks for the shoulder connections and a bunch of studs on the sides to do everything. And it's amazing. And I never seen a piece like what they use for the elbow here. It's completely unique to this system as far as I can tell, which is just amazing. And then the head is a couple of standard bricks that, you know, you've seen with LEGO, but then the faceplate and the hair are 2 like completely custom pieces that are really excellently molded and painted properly. Well, the face is. The hair is not painted, but it's a really good color, and it really encapsulates what the character looks like. You know, and Chainsaw Man, not Denji, but his actual Chainsaw Man figure, it trades the posability in the arms for the novelty of having chainsaws for arms. And the way they did the hands for this is really interesting too, because it's actually a bar and hole connection that runs through the chainsaw from hand to hand. And the chainsaws themselves actually have a ball that goes into a socket for the upper arm. And it's just amazing the way they did that. And the head is entirely brick built with only a couple of custom pieces. One being the massive chainsaw part, and then the others being just the teeth that they did specifically, which are actually curved, thin plastic pieces that are held between a couple of bars and bricks. It's really, really interesting and impressive, the sheer level of detail that they got for all of this, and the way that they combined everything. A couple of other details is the printed bricks on all of these are pretty good. There's no stickers in either of these 2 sets, which I greatly appreciate. Denji doesn't have hardly any printed bricks aside from his faceplate, and then the 2 bricks that have Pochita's eyes on it. You know, if I can get the camera to focus on him, you know, you can see his eyes there. It's just 2 pieces with the eyes and then Denji's faceplate. And then his shoes. Oh my god, the shoes. I actually really like the shoes. Whoever made these sets might have been friends with a sneakerhead or something to get... Oh, there goes a piece. I'll grab that in a second. But the shoes they look like real shoes that you might see at the store. Like, these look like cheap skate shoes with the stripe going down. And the way that they're totally brick built out to really emulate that style is amazing. And I love the fact that Chainsaw Man has different shoes from Denji. And they're nicer. They look like more expensive shoes now that he has his government job. That's another thing, is after Denji becomes Chainsaw Man, he gets recruited by I think it's the Japanese government, like, immediately. I don't know why the one in the foreground doesn't want to focus, but yeah, you can see it really well there. How Chainsaw Man's got all these printed. He's got the circle on both sides, and then these sloped pieces are printed, and then this curved slope is printed as well. But then the only other prints on this guy are he's got his shirt pocket is printed. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus on this. There we go. So he's got a printed shirt pocket. The trouble with trying to record something right in front of your face. He's got his I guess his eye slits or the grills on his head are printed. Obviously his teeth are printed on thin pieces of plastic. But then the one thing that I wasn't a huge fan of is he has one random tile that goes on his back that also is printed. And it's just got like the typical like copywriting stuff on it. It's like, it's the copyright symbol and says TF/S, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that is. But it's there, and it's weird because Denji doesn't have anything like that on him. I don't know if the Chainsaw Man set is newer or older. It's really hard to tell, honestly. But yeah, and then Chainsaw Man, he's got his tie for his nicer shirt, and the tie is articulated so you can have it like blowing in the wind, but like holding a pose. And then the mouth, of course, you can open and close. And it's technically on like a double hinge, so you can get various degrees of open or close. And then he's got his little thing that comes out the back of his head. I don't know if it's supposed to lay flat or not, but it's just, the level of detail here is incredibly impressive. And the build quality is really, really good. And the posability on both figures is insanely good. I think in an earlier clip I said that I might get Power soon. I actually ordered Power while I was editing this video. So, this is really, really good stuff. I got a couple of the Squishmallows builder sets, the little, like, individual character ones. I don't know where they are right now. But, I think it's cool to see these Lego competitors popping up, and the quality of the toys are actually good. You know, Lego's been getting really expensive these days, and I love Lego. I love a lot of the stuff that Lego makes, even to this day, but, you know, when you've almost got a monopoly on the market, you start putting out things that are more expensive and not as good, and it's not great for the people who actually like the stuff you make, because they're getting screwed from both ends. They're getting screwed from the end of, oh, this cost a lot more than I want to spend on it, and then they're getting screwed from the end of, oh, these aren't actually as good as they used to be, which is a shame. So it's good to see some good competition coming out that has their own like unique things that they make that aren't just something you can get from Lego. You know, Lego will never touch anything like Chainsaw Man. It's way too violent. There's way too many mature themes going on there. And Lego has a very specific, like, kid-friendly brand that they keep too. So obviously, when they come out with Chainsaw Man, they're like, "Oh, we can't do that." What they did One Piece. Lego got One Piece recently for the live action on the Netflix show, and if you've only seen the season 1 of the live action Netflix One Piece, then you're probably not going to think too much of it, but like, I'm caught up with the anime at this point in time. One Piece gets dark. One Piece gets really dark and really heavy a lot. Because that is a show about a boy chasing the purest form of freedom and saving people's lives every step of the way, more or less. Not always intentionally, and that's not always what he's doing, but like, he goes around and he cleans the world up in a beautiful way. So I'm kind of surprised that Lego took that on. But like, it's really cool to see just how many unique pieces this company has made just for these like one-off figures that they're probably not going to make too many more of. I think I also picked up a character from Jujutsu Kaisen, which I have not seen Jujutsu Kaisen, but I loved the Chainsaw Man figure so much that I was like, okay, I want to do some custom stuff, and that figure has parts on it that I can see that I want to do the custom stuff. Because what I want to do is I want to basically take the torso from this guy and give him Denji's head and his regular arms, so I can just have like Denji when he's not fighting devils, you know? One weird thing is that the hands came on plastic sprues as opposed to being loose parts in the bags like the regular pieces. I thought it was a bit strange, but it's not something I'm unused to. I have a ton of model kits that I've built over the years, so I have the tools to remove them and clean them up from the sprues. And they were pretty easy to remove, too. I probably could have done it without the tools, but I like to be extra careful. So, yeah. It's just a quick look at the Builder brand Chainsaw Man figures. Power is probably going to come in the mail after I get this video put up. I might do a quick little thing on her later, but this video is going up as is, or it'll go up without a review of her, because the more stuff I try to add to this, the longer it'll take to get out. But yeah, you know, Denji's a good guy. He deals with a lot of tough crap. Pochita is adorable, and I wish we got to see more of the little dude, you know? But, yeah. There's my look at the Builder brand, Chainsaw Man, Denji and Pochita, and Chainsaw Man sets. If you like what you saw, go ahead and check out the channel. We've got plenty of other stuff going up. We got a lot of video game stuff going up. Check out our live stream channel at twitch.tv/Scarlet Room. And yeah, leave a like, comment down below, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out. And goodbye.